Hello. Happy Friday. We are back. Adventures in Adversity, an inspirational podcast hosted by me. But more importantly, I want to welcome my 41st guest. And this will be my 61st episode. Julian, thank you so much for joining. I don't know if I have enough time to walk down memory lane with you, but if this is your first time listening to the podcast, Adventures in Adversity is a inspirational podcast that really features real people. We got one, true stories, and daily inspiration. My goal is to provide a platform where we're just talking real talk about how to get through hard stuff in life. And guys, this is Julian. I've been talking for 9,000 seconds already. I just want to welcome Julian to the
Hello.
show. Julian, also known as Julio Iglesias.
Yep.
We
Number
will,
one, of course.
we will get to that story, why, in a second. So where do we even start with this? How do we tackle this?
We could start with, where we met, which is crazy.
All right. Where did we meet, Julian? And thank you for being a guest because I haven't had a guest quite like you.
Yeah. You do have several you could do like this.
I have never had a former student
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Okay. So, well, I want to ask you a question then. How did you end up where you were my teacher?
You're like, how the hell did someone let that happen? No. So let's see. This was 2005. I
Okay.
met you. So that was literally 20 years ago. Fall 2025
Oh,
or 2020.
God.
No, fall 2005. And it is now fall 2025.
That is frightening.
So are you 31?
32.
32. So I knew you when you were 13,
Yep.
12.
12
I
going
can't
into
do
13.
math. You were 12. I was 25 because I'm going to be 44 and
So I'm older than you when you met me.
Yes, I met you when you were 12 and I was just a 25-year-old figuring out life.
Figuring it out.
So how did I become your teacher? I want to give a shout out to my bestie, let's see, at that time she was Miss Richter.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Miss Richter, Brianna. She is on another episode. I should know the number of it, but it's called Shooting the Breeze with my bestie, Brianna. And it's like humorous takes on life. So Brianna, I met her in Spain when I was a teacher right after college, graduated 04, English major, didn't know what I wanted to do. Ended up being a teacher intern at an American school in Spain.
Wait, weren't you a softball player or something?
In college.
Yeah, okay.
But this podcast is not about me, so I'm going to wrap this up
real
quick. Sorry. Hey, stop turning the tables. Look at teacher mode. You're like, sorry.
Sorry.
You stick to the plan. No, I'm kidding. There is no plan. To sum it up, long story short, I met Brianna. She became my bestie. Came back home to Irvine, was like, don't know what I want to do with my life. Just graduated college. Brianna visited her in Arizona. She's like, hey, we need a teacher. She was at Mission Charter School.
Okay.
2005. I had been a tutor. I had done a middle school intervention program for a couple months to help a group of kids. And then I had just minimal experience, but I had a lot of no formal credential, but I had, that kid experience and then tutoring. So, and remember Miss Carpenter and Jane. Yep. I did an interview. I got the job, and then I was a late addition that fall. Like I didn't start with you guys.
Yeah, I think you started like halfway through or something.
Yeah, I was the science teacher. Yep. You were in 7th grade, right?
Yep.
Then one day I was talking to Miss Shaw, and she's like, hey, Cooley. You know what I'm talking about.
I do, yeah.
I love her. Cooley, what do you think about teaching math?
You're like,
I'm sorry, what? I think a teacher had left, and I was like, sure. So she's like, cool, you start Monday. So
Damn.
I
So
went
you went from science to math like
to
very fast.
science and math, and then remember we had a mix of like 6th, 7th, and 8th?
Yeah. Yep.
But I will tell you, we had some fun. We did
Yeah.
have some fun.
We did have some fun.
But I didn't I stayed one day ahead. I had a lesson plan book, and I looked at the Arizona State standards, and I was like, "All right, I gotta hit all these concepts. How are we gonna make it fun? Hopefully, I can do this."
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stop talking now. We've set the stage. I was your 7th grade math and science teacher
Yep.
20 years ago in Phoenix, Arizona. Shout out to all the Mission Charter School listeners out there. Do
Boom.
you want to give some love, Julian, to anyone in particular?
No. No, no.
What?
No. Okay, no. I'll shout out Miss Shaw, of course. Mr. Hannah, Elena. I mean, we were a very tight-knit school. Like, I
Yes.
mean, there was like 30 kids? It was insanely small.
It was, let's see, that class, maybe like the whole school a couple hundred kids
I don't
or
even think it was
something?
100.
But like the little kids.
Oh, I forgot about the little kids. Okay, yeah. I was thinking about
Remember
the
those
middle
little
school.
things walking around everywhere?
Yeah, I forgot like middle school because like we
Oh,
had the detached like thing that was separate
yes.
from that side.
Middle school must have been like 40, 50.
Yeah, it was super small. So like like we were just so close. It's weird too because like I talked to people that went to other middle schools and they have no idea like why I'm so close with everybody. Like it's weird.
You're right. I have never seen a middle school like that.
No,
Like,
there
remember
was
they had the White
mm-mm.
House?
The White House. Yeah, that was you don't want to go there. That place freaked
You
me out. It was all
go to the White
creaky.
House.
Yeah, go to the White House.
Now it was like this house that, and then I taught in the two. There was two portables,
Yep.
and then I was in one. Brianna, Miss Richter, who's now Mrs. Ciro, shooting the breeze. She was up in the other. She was a second grade teacher up in the other building,
Yep. Because there was like a separate detached building that was already there.
and then we had the lunch tables and the cover, and then
Yep.
and then the White House
And the White House in the middle.
with the
And it's
little
still there.
kitchen. With the kitchen. Oh, it's still there.
Yeah, but I think it might be like blue now, like dark blue.
Oh, well, I'm gonna give a shout out to remember Miss Pogies.
I mean, the name sounds familiar, but
Sorry, we can edit that out. No,
yep. Right, cut. Why does that
just
sound
cut the
familiar?
part that makes you look like a dad.
Yeah,
No,
that
I'm
I don't
kidding.
remember anybody. I was 12. It's different.
You're right. I was 25, but now I'm old, so I'm not supposed to remember stuff. You're supposed to remember stuff.
True.
Um, Miss Carpenter and Lex, they visited me in San Francisco, 2006. After then, yeah, that was just like a boot camp of all the emotions, but like we laughed a lot. We had a lot of fun.
I saw them not well, okay, well, it's been a long time now, but
Yeah.
I saw them with Kylie. We all hung out.
Kylie.
Yeah.
I remember Kylie, Brittany, and Brianna.
Yep.
Remember
I
them?
think I think Brittany added me not too long ago.
Brittany.
Yep.
Yep. Gosh, clear as day. So I sent you those pictures.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure they flash up on the screen
Oh,
because there you go,
okay.
right there.
Right now, can you flash the one of he's gonna produce this for me, maybe?
Yep.
Um,
Right there.
we're gonna get to all like the cool about we're taking memory lane and then we're gonna talk about what a badass Julian is. Just saying. Um, so right now you'll see the picture of us on Flashback Friday.
Oh man.
That was not my idea, by the way.
It wasn't?
Uh, it was just like a school holiday, wasn't it? And then my idea was to
Oh,
participate.
yeah. Okay, yep.
So I didn't like be like, "Hey guys, dress like, 80s," and
You dressed pretty 80s.
I did. Yeah. Can we also show the picture of Julian on the table
Oh,
rocking
yeah.
out?
Why did you let me do that?
Because I think we had got all our stuff done. You had your organized
I think
binder.
was that the end of the year?
I think it was maybe one of the last days, and we had put on music, and maybe you
Yeah,
had done a rap about
something.
something
Who knows?
science related. And you and Mick and would like you
Justin.
would do the head you would do like the heavy
Yep.
metal.
We were, like, headbanging. Nick was looking inside of the ceiling.
That probably was a safety violation on my part as the adult in the room. No, he was just checking for something in the ceiling. It's
Right.
normal. A lot of students do that. So I don't know what you're talking about, but what are you trying to do right now,
That
Julian?
school was so unorthodox, though. So I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, but you know what? I think now being such a like mental health advocate, like keeping it real advocate, that was so fucking awesome for such a hard time in someone's life. 12, 13, 14. You're like, the hell, who am I?
Yeah.
You actually, you were very, tell me how was middle school for you? Because from a teacher's point of view, you were always respectful. You were really funny, but you knew the line when I'd be like, okay, enough, quiet
Yeah.
down. You would never be like, screw you,
Yeah.
screw
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Like
There were kids that did that though.
some, I'd be like, office now. And
Office,
then I'd be
White
like,
House.
I'm scared. Um, what was middle school like for you?
Um, it's weird because like when I think of, like I said, I'll talk to people who went to other middle schools and I hear what they experience versus what I experience, and mine's like way different. And like it was very family oriented. Like I don't know. It's kind of weird too because like I remember I would go to the office and I would go see the principals or whoever, like Miss Shaw and like Mr.
Miss
Hannah and stuff,
Portillo?
Miss Portillo, like everybody like that. But like I would be cool with them, and so I think that like dynamic plays into like how I am now with like even like not jobs but like whatever client I have or whatever. I'm like super personal with them because it just went a farther way than a lot of people I know that went to other schools where they're just like, "Oh yeah, my principal was mean and like I hate school." But I'm like, I didn't hate middle school. I didn't have a bad time. If any of the kids did have a bad time back then, I'm always thinking I'm like they were making it bad. Like it was so close that
Mm.
you couldn't really have a bad time.
I'm so glad that that was your experience because it was a very open, like a little group where everybody like you could get that attention. Or I remember like you could feel if somebody was off or like so and so's having a bad day. Whereas it's easy now, you kind of get lost in the shuffle of like hundreds and hundreds of kids, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably what the difference is like you guys knew everybody. I feel like maybe in other middle schools there's so many kids that they're just like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, there's this one kid," and it's like, "Okay, no, but like I don't think if I looked at pictures of everybody, I'm pretty sure I would remember everybody."
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I can for some reason, I mean, I have a pretty good memory, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Sorry. You know, you can brag about something.
Mhm.
Um, I would love to keep that memory when I'm like old as shit. You know, I'll be like, I remember everything.
By then you'll be uploaded to the consciousness
I
network
know.
and
Hey, as long as I'm nice, you know, I
exactly.
just want wherever my consciousness is downloaded, I just want to be a good person. You know,
Exactly.
um, I remember everything very vividly. I remember you were in seventh grade, but you were in all the
I was what?
you weren't graduating that year, but you
Yeah,
were
I
in all
graduated
the.
early.
Oh,
I
did you graduate?
graduated. I for some yeah, I've always tried to figure this out, and I feel like they just kind of pushed me through because I was special. But that year, I was done.
So, did you kind of skip eighth grade?
I don't know, maybe I did because I know when I went to freshman year of high school, I was 13, turning 14.
What was the fall of your freshman year? What year was that?
2008.
Well, whatever it was, you kind of so the did you wear a cap? I don't know. I can't remember, but you were always in the mix of everything. So like
Yeah,
when I was thinking back to that eighth grade trip, you didn't come on that trip.
I didn't go on a trip. No,
That we went on a trip to Big Bear,
Big
like
Bear. Yep.
in three cars. There were two other dads and me. I'm like, what is going on right now? I'm like, I remember driving on the mountain being like, oh my God, I have like 7 lives in my hands. Like I have to drive perfectly.
That's so funny. I didn't even think about that.
It was called Rim of the World Highway.
Oh no, I would never
Literally.
do
And I was
that.
like,
So scary.
oh my God, this is like the most important drive of my entire life.
Yeah, that's scary.
Everything was great, but yeah, I guess they trusted me and it was great. But now I think back and I'm like, gosh, I'm glad you know, how to you got them
Yeah, I don't
to
think there was anything. There was nothing bad about that school, that time. I'm trying to think. Wait a second. No. When okay, so we had the little like off, the like detachable things. That's where we
Yep.
were at.
Yep.
Okay, so then that means that my 8th grade year was at the new building.
After I was gone.
Yeah, because that last year we went to a new building and that was it.
Got
Then
it.
I went to high school.
And then did a lot of those kids go to the same high school?
No.
No.
They
Kind of
got
all
split
went.
up between like Washington, which is where I went, North, and Sunny Slope or something like that. Because I ended up going to school with Tori, Brooke.
You were dating
I was
Tori.
dating Tori in middle school. Yeah.
You guys were so cute, by the way. I remember thinking, because just from my point of view as a teacher, I was like, he's really nice to her. Like I
I
could
don't even
tell
remember.
you were, wow, it really, really, you were really in love, huh?
I know,
You're
right? No,
like,
I used to hang out with them so much that it's so hard to like. I would go to their house and like hang like
her and
I'm
Brooke, her sister.
yep, and even now like I still talk to them.
I see them on Facebook.
Yeah, like we're like I don't know, we're weird. Like and then when we went to college, they went to ASU, and I would go stay at the dorms with them all the time. So that went on for like ever.
Yeah. I'm it's so cool to reminisce, and we're gonna have to bring Brianna here as like a
Yeah,
panel, because she, and I want to say I'm not just saying this for the podcast, like I'm not just trying to like blow smoke. I remember I remember in particular Miss Carpenter being like, Julian's so awesome, like you guys were tight,
we were close. Yeah,
and you were just one of the, I hope your parents, please send them this clip.
okay.
Not that they're like, we already know he's awesome. You were so respectful. You were hilarious. Oh my God. You and Mick, you would get me laughing when I'm like, please don't make me laugh
Yeah,
right now.
please
Like,
don't
I
make me
gotta
laugh
get
right
through this
now.
lesson, man. But you knew the line of like, you would never say anything that I'd have to like write home about. Like, I would
Yeah,
just be like, guys, stop talking about heavy metal.
yeah, pretty much.
Come
We
on.
just yap too much.
And you're like, "Dun-dun."
Yep.
And you had glasses and the curly, put it on the screen, the side shot of you with the curly hair and glasses.
It's all
Oh,
weird.
Julian. So I used to call you Julio Iglesias.
Yes.
I don't know why.
I don't know where that came from.
And you were fine with it,
Yep.
I think. Sorry if you weren't.
Nope. I didn't care. I thought it was hilarious.
Well, this is a really good segue, actually. Speaking of famous musicians,
Yes.
I remember you being diehard music, talking about how much you loved music, a lot of air guitar, a lot of just like, yeah, love music, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Turns out you were serious.
Yep.
Tell me about your path from, where did your path head after 7th grade and how did it follow into music?
So I went to high school. High school was normal. Well, okay, so it was different because it wasn't like Mission where there was like a small group of people. That's like number one. But I was definitely, because I had longer hair then at that point, so my hair got even longer, and then I would wear like platform shoes. I wore like huge shoes and like would walk around with like the craziest shoes. My first day I wore platform shoes with a jean vest with a Slayer patch, a Kiss patch, and then like an Iron Maiden patch, sleeveless shirt, aviator glasses, and I took my guitar to school just to like be obnoxious. And then I remember everybody was like, "This guy's a fucking loser!" Like with his hair and all this kind of shit. But it was
No,
funny. No, it was great because I was like, "You guys just don't know what cool is." I was
you
like,
guys are just lemmings
I was like, "You
following the
guys are
crowd.
so lame." Like, and so I ran with that for so long, and then I ended up cutting my hair off and went like, at the time it was like this thing called scene. So like I had like, I don't even think you know, but like I had super straight hair that like stuck up. Like,
No, I
hold
didn't.
on,
We've been in touch. I didn't see that phase. I'm sure
that
you've
phase
seen
was
all my
crazy.
phases on Facebook. You're like, what is Miss Cooley doing?
My phases were
Um,
crazy. So I went through that,
We all go
And
through phases, right? Process of elimination.
yeah, I wish that one stayed because that was cool.
That was, I mean, you always been cool though.
Yeah. Okay. Look
You're
at
like,
this.
yeah, I
I'll
know.
put it up. I'm gonna send it to you, but I'll put it on the screen.
By the way, guys, he's the producer of this episode. That's why
Yep.
it's so good. they're like, who produced your other 59 shitty ones? I'm like, me. Me. They're like, makes sense. Makes
Okay.
sense.
Look at the photo I think, so you can have a live reaction to that.
Oh, this is fancy technology though. How do I do this?
Are you on your phone?
Oh, yes. Let me go. Actually, yes. Can you message it to me? My phone's in the other room, but I
Here,
can go
look.
get it.
Here, look.
Okay, show. Oh, pull it. It's a little blurry. Oh my god!
Yeah.
It's very like is it like
There you
Mick
go.
Jagger-esque?
Like it was crazy.
I think maybe
You like
you,
maybe would have saw it, but
you had the curly Q long, and then you went
yeah.
straight.
So then I just straightened it basically and made myself look like Nikki Sixx or something.
That's what it is, or like Chris Angel,
or like Chris Angel, yeah, that whole thing. And so like I ran with that through high school from like the end of sophomore year until like end of junior year, and then I cut all my hair off, and then by that time I had been friends with like so many people, and then like Brooke and Tori and all them, they were like the student government like people, like hanging out with those people. So I cut my hair, and everybody, like, I remember there was this one girl who like she was like the top cheerleader girl. And in history class, I remember my senior year, I sat in front of her and she talked to me and was like, "When did you get to Washington?" And I was like, "I've been here this whole time."
You're like,
But
you're
and
like,
I
I
told
was your
her,
lab partner for 2
I know,
years. I
for
just
like
cut my
for
hair.
2 years. And so I told her, and then I remember she was like freaking out that I was that person, and then yeah, she became like my really good friend, and then we graduated, and then in college, so yeah, the girls went to like ASU. I would hang out with them all the time. The first year, I don't think I went straight. I think maybe halfway through, I was like, okay, I'll start doing some shit, and so I ended up. My parents were like, "Oh, you could go to school for recording at the community college," and I was like, "What? Like that's crazy." So, and I had already been recording, at home,
Yeah.
and so I ended up going to the like recording program, and I was there for a year. And I remember the first year, I was like, "Oh, this is horrible," because it was all like very technical, like how to organize your files, like
You're
basically,
like, you're
and
like, I
like
know,
what
dude.
a waveform is, and like all this stuff. And I remember being like so annoyed. Well, my second year was like the year that you got to do like recording. So the first year was all talking, second year was recording. I took the first like half of the year in the recording class in music business, and my professor goes, he hears one of my songs and he goes, "Why are you in this class?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Well, you already know what you're doing." And I was like, that's the strangest thing to come from somebody who's supposed to teach you and like, keep you in class. And I said, "Well, I don't know. I thought I was going to learn some stuff that I wouldn't know." And he's like, he's like, pretty much what you should know. And then he offered me a job at his studio. And so that was like my second year, like halfway through. And so then I just left and then I worked for him at his studio
And is this
for
like
like,
2011, 2010, or when is this?
this is like 2000, yeah, probably 2011, 2012.
So you're like, how old are you? You're
I'm not even like 21.
yeah, you're 18,
I'm
19,
probably like
20.
19, yeah.
You're 19. Okay.
And
You're like,
so
I'll work for you, dude.
yeah, and so he gave me the key to his studio B, and
In
I just
Arizona.
yeah, and I just worked out of that studio, and he was like, "You're gonna have to find your own clients, like that's just how it works." And I was like, "Okay, I'll figure it out." I have no idea how I even got clients, and when
Now, were you singing and doing music? Like, what kind of music were you doing?
I was producing music, so I was just like making music.
Making and now to a novice like me, I'm just a
Yep.
listener. Does that mean making like beats, melodies? What's the difference? Like
Yeah,
what
literally, yeah. So I would like make all the drum sounds. I would make all the like I would play the chords, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
music
and so I was like,
production.
yeah, so like I was making all of the music, and then I was like, well, how do I find somebody who's gonna buy the music, basically? Like,
Do they sing on top of it?
yeah. So like, basically,
Oh,
what happens is like they'll hire a producer to make the music,
got
and
it.
then
Okay.
they sing over the music with whatever they wrote.
Amazing. I didn't know that. Like, this is
Yeah,
really interesting to me.
but I did not know how to find clients. Like that was the weirdest thing. And back then, social media was it was like not even this. It's not even remotely close.
Now they're a click away, right?
Yeah, no, I don't even like. That's what I was saying. I don't know how
You don't
I did it.
remember. It
No,
just kind of sounds like God just sent him your way.
apparently, yeah, they was just like boop, because like they would just pop up.
Boop.
Yep. And
Apparently, you were
so
aligned with your purpose.
yeah, and so like that's the thing is like they started showing up. I had clients that would it was all over the place. At first, it was a lot of rap, which there's a lot of rappers, so like
Can
that
you
was like
drop some names? Can I ask you to name drop anyone you can? And
my
I know you're humble, but I want to hear it.
in the beginning there was no
I'm your
one big.
teacher. I'm your
In the
teacher.
beginning there
So,
was no one big.
okay. So you were
So
just tell me about like what would it like say I'm a client, I came in and I'm like, "Hey, I'm a beautiful singer. Do you got
yeah,
some beats for me?" Like that?
literally yes. And so
Okay.
then I would be like, okay, so at the time it'd be 45 an hour, right? So,
I could literally come to you and be like, "Hi Julian, I need a beat."
but I had to split that with my mentor because I was paying his thing. So that was his
Got
whole
it.
thing. He was like, you can record all you want, like just, give
Give me
me
some.
whatever you. And so I did. Well, I got so busy that I remember in 1 month I paid his whole rent. And he was like, "You have more clients than I do." Yeah, and he's worked with like Bruce Springsteen and like yeah, like Ringo
He's
Starr.
holy shit. Julian, he saw something in you. That's amazing. I'm not surprised, but that's fucking cool.
Yeah, so but then halfway through that, I remember going, I could charge whatever I want and just pay the rent so I could change whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like, as long as I was paying him, he didn't care what I was making. So I
Right.
went from 45 to 60 an hour,
Okay.
and people were paying me 60 an hour. And I had one
And you're
client who,
19.
yeah, I was making, and I don't even think about it now. I'm like, it was even then. I remember being like, man, I wish I was making more money. But it's like now I look back and I'm like, that's
You're
crazy.
killing it.
Yeah.
Can I ask you for anyone who's listening that is like a budding musician, did anyone advise you on that or did you just go with your intuition about like what to do next?
No, I thought about it. Like it's
You're,
one of those things where it's gonna be risky because you don't know if anyone's gonna pay that much money. You know what I mean?
but you know your value.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know then.
You're assessing your value,
I was
right?
just like, I could make more money. Like I was not thinking like, what am I giving to people that's worth it? I
Got it.
wasn't even there like mentally yet.
Okay.
And so I ended up uh doing that for a while, and then I had a client who he's a rapper, and he was like going to the studio every day, and he was doing like, I want to say like 5 to 6 hours. So $60 an hour, 5 to 6 hours. I'm making crazy money. And then sometimes he would do like, we would start at 3 p.m. and he would want to go until 6 a.m. And
And,
so
and you're
I would
like
just say, yeah,
boo boo, I'm here for you.
yeah. And so I would sit there and record him for like, like I would stay up all night. I would record him. And then that went on for a while. And I want to say like 2, 3 years. And then that studio shut down.
Okay.
And my
Did you really
mentor was
enjoy that?
that job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was like, I think that was one of my funnest times because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like I literally was just like recording people and making money, like whatever, like I don't really care. But then when I didn't anticipate it to end either, right?
Okay.
Like you're not thinking that this studio is going to close down. You're just like, I'm recording.
So is this a little adversity coming your way soon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And so literally I was like, that happened, and I'm like, oh, I don't have a job. Like I did not have a job, and I couldn't figure out like what the next, like what do I do now? Because that was through the school. I met the professor.
Right.
So where
Mhm.
do I find another studio that I can just work out of? You know
And
what I
were
mean?
you yeah, and was the rug kinda pulled out from under you, or it just kinda
Yeah, no,
changed?
it was like we're closing like next week.
And you're like, "WTF?" Like, "What?"
Yep.
So, do you remember if someone listening to this has just lost a job or something didn't get renewed, or they're like, someone's like, "You're never gonna be a musician, like your pipe dream, you
Yeah.
know, get real." Do you remember any moments where you were like, "Fuck," and like anything that helped you? And I'll just let you talk. How about? How did
I
you keep going?
I don't know what it was, and I attribute it a lot to my parents too, but, like, I don't think that there's ever, like, anything bad. Like, it's not a good way of thinking, I'll say that all the time. Like, it's
You
definitely
just
not.
roll. You roll.
Yeah, I'll just be like, "There's something else." I don't know, like, that's just how I've always been.
Yeah.
Um, and so when that happened, I remember my mom was like, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "I don't know, like, I'm gonna, figure it out." Well, this is super weird, but I was on Facebook. So now Facebook's like kind of getting like, so MySpace was done, Facebook's up.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm like scrolling through Facebook, and this was right around the time that like I guess ads had started, and this giant red ad said, "Are you a producer?"
Let's put it up there.
Yeah,
What does it look like?
it looked like that.
The
And
producer's
so
gonna put it up there, and you're like,
it
"Yes!"
no, literally, I was like, "I am, that's so crazy." And so I clicked it, and it took me to a link where I had to fill out my information. And so I filled out all this information, um, about who I was and like what I knew, whatever.
Yeah.
Sent it, and then like 30 minutes later, I get a phone call, and it's this guy, and he's like, "Hey, I saw you answered our post about being a producer." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can you come down for a meeting and talk with us?" And I was like, "I don't even know who this person is." And so I was
Sure.
like, "Yeah, sure." So I drive over to this studio, and when I get there, it's like this like it's
Oh,
small.
mhm.
It's
Sorry,
small. It's like
someone
similar to the studio I just came from.
okay.
So I go
So
I
you're
go
like,
in
"Cool."
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing crazy. I go in there, I'm talking to the guys. I play the music. The guys are listening to music, and they start like bringing everybody in, and they're like, "Are you listening to this? Like, do you hear what he's making? Blah blah blah." And I was like, "Guys, this is like normal for me, so I don't know like what I don't know
You're
why
like,
you did this."
you're like, "This is my shitty stuff, actually."
Yeah, I should have been like, this is bad. Um, and so they were like, "We want you on," and I'm like, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" They're like, "We just want you to be a producer." Okay, cool. So I go home. I tell my mom, I'm like, "Yo, I got a job at the studio, whatever." Well, the next day they called me and they were like, "Can you come down to the studio? We want to show you like some stuff." I'm like, "Okay, cool." They
You're
send
like,
me an
"I just need a
address.
job, bro." Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
cool.
don't care about anything else. Like, I'm just gonna show up and record.
You're like, "I'm 19, so like 20, whatever."
Yeah. And so I end up going uh to this new address that they gave me. So I was like super confused. And I get there and it's this massive 300, no, not 300. It was probably like 35,000 square feet. It was just huge. It was a massive building.
That's a lot of square feet.
And I was like, what is this? And the owner, the guy who I had met with, he was like, so we didn't tell anybody, but we actually are moving to this location. But we wanted to see who would be cool with working in that location and not be cool with working in this location just because it looks nice. So they had already
Oh.
they were planning a whole move, but they didn't want people to just go because of the space.
So tell me this, is there something in the obviously in the music industry or any industry, like, it doesn't matter, you're like, "Ooh, big building, I wanna be." It's not about that. It's not about the fancy bullshit. It's about the music and the right?
Yeah, it could literally be, it's like, it's, they're going to look for any of these situations are going to be like, are you going to work in the worst position? Like, is it, are you going to be able to work in like not the greatest studio? Like, I've, the first studio that I worked at, the one that closed down, it's not like it was like millions of dollars. It was nice, but it wasn't millions of dollars.
You're not like it's not like a legendary where you're like, "Hey, I'm a
No,
producer." Like,
yeah, it
they
was,
want to see if you're in the right your heart's in the right place, right?
yeah, and that, I guess that's what they were like trying to do. And so
Well, Julian's heart's always in the right place.
exactly, I wasn't even thinking. I was just like, whatever.
That's great.
So I get there, I go in, and they're already building it out. So they had already been doing this. The studio was like super nice. The offices were super nice. They're like, we want you to be here all the time working, blah, blah, blah. They were revamping their website. They were like, how much do you want to charge? I was like 60 an hour. And then I worked there for maybe like a month. And then the one of the owners pulled me aside and he was like, hey, so can you be the studio manager? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I don't even know what that means, but like, okay, sure. And so they weren't paying me to be the studio manager. They were just like, can you manage the studio? And I was like, yeah, sure. So they start like putting roles out, and then they pull me aside for another meeting and they're like, we need to find engineers. And I'm like, well, I'm the engineer. They're like, Jack, you can't work with everybody. And I was like, yes, I can. I was like, give me all the clients. And they were like, you need to have people under you to work for you. And I'm like, this is horrible. I just want to do all the work.
And by the way, so you go by Jack London, right?
Yeah.
So that's your name.
Yeah. Like that was, and
is it okay that I called you Julian?
oh yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Or is it okay that I called you Julio?
Yeah, that's yeah. But yeah, so that like they started. It was so funny. They started bringing all these, like, they had sent in applications. All these people, they're like, Jack, you need to go over everybody's stuff and like listen to it. So they would come in. I would listen to their music.
Okay.
I would say like, this person's okay, whatever. And then and then by the end of it, the only person working was me, because nobody could like handle that. It wasn't like they thought, oh, this is cool, I'm going to come in, record, have fun, and it's like, oh no, this is actually work. And so a lot of them just kind of fell off, or they made us mad or whatever.
It's not all
happened.
glamorous.
No.
The output is probably glamorous, right? Like
yeah.
but it's a creation process. It's not called engineering for nothing, and
Exactly.
production, and
Yep.
having done this much of editing, I'm like, holy shit,
editing,
this is hard.
It's the worst. Yeah. It takes like 8 hours to do one video.
So hard. Yeah. I have so much respect.
So that whole time I was doing all of the music stuff at one point. And then we had a photo team and we had a video team. And so I would go bug them when I wasn't, because I would just be at the studio all day. So I'd get there at like, 8. My really good friend Tom, he was there. He was the photo guy. And we were the first people there every time. And we would just sit there all day and just be like, it's just people are gonna show up. People would walk through the door. We had no idea who they were. They're like, I saw you on like an ad or something. They would come in, ask for a tour. We'd give them a tour, and it just started like growing and growing. But once again,
wait, you mean I thought you only have a little adversity and then it stops forever.
Yeah, no, it just keeps going.
Okay, cool. I'll just do a podcast about that. Okay.
I know. This goes on for like a year, where it's like perfect.
Okay, like you're living the dream. You're like loving it. You're getting your hands dirty, but you're also managing. You're like,
And I just bought a car. I got like a brand new Volkswagen.
You're like, what's up?
It was awesome.
You're 21, 22? You're old,
I was like 20, 22, 23.
Okay.
So this is all happening. Everyone's living their life. It's great. Everything's cool. And so I didn't know that there were investors involved. So the 3 guys that I had worked with, they were like my brothers. Like, we were super cool. Everything was cool. We would go and like, everything was fine. And then one day the investor started coming over and was like, he's like, hey, I have these artists I want you to work with. Jack's the best, blah, 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 blah. So I'd work with them, blah, blah, blah. But then they were paying me. And I remember being like, this is how they're paying me is weird. Right?
Did you have some intuition of something was off?
Something was weird, yeah. And nobody would notice this, because this person's giving me like $1,000 every once in a while. That's like, here's $1,000, work with my artist. Here's $1,000, work with my artist, over and over again. And so, and normally that'd be normal. But
like project fee or whatever, right? Like, I mean, as a creative, it's like a fee base or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah. And so I would just do the work, but even then I was like, something is just weird. And so they started like coming over all the time. It was like 2 investors. They'd always show up. I'll never forget. We had a giant white wall in this warehouse for photos, and it was never done. Like, it was just always being worked on. And I remember at the time I had just started watching Ozark.
Oh, I love that. I love Jason Bateman.
And so in the show, the guy was like, we're going to make this church, but we're never going to finish it. We're just going to work on it, because they were laundering money through this company. So I remember watching it and being like, weird, they're never finishing the church to like launder money. That makes no sense. And then
While your wall
I
was
was
not
like, our wall is never finished. The second studio is never finished. The green screen's never finished. And they would just like randomly finish it. And then like another project wouldn't be done. So I go back to the office one day and I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to ask you a question. I said, have you guys ever looked at the checks that they give you for the rent? And they were like, no. And I'm like, you've never looked at them? And they were like, no, we just give them to Steve, the building owner, who was on the other half of the building. He owned the building, and it cleared and everything was fine. And I said, let's go look at what they give you. So we pull out all these papers and we start looking. And I'm all, so we're getting paid from this company, we're getting paid from this company, it was not one company, it was random companies. And I mean, it was like whatever soda pop company, and then it was like bracelet company, and then it was like credit card company, just random companies. And I was like, guys, I'm like, they're totally laundering money through the studio. And so we were like, what do we do?
Did you have an aha moment? Was it like Ozark that got like literally made you think that for a
That
second?
part literally made like, hey, we should look at this because it's weird.
Okay. And were they like, okay, yeah, I think so
Yeah, but
too.
they were like, we need to figure out what to do because we're at this height.
This
And
is
so before they know what we're doing and like all this kind of stuff. And so we took like the first, like the month to like, we were like planning.
Were you so awkward at work? Were you trying not to be? Or did they
Kind
even
of,
see you?
because they
Were
were
they like,
working with me. So I was like, just kind of like
you're just like,
working like normal.
hey, happy Wednesday.
Yeah, pretty
Oh
much.
God.
But we told the building owner, Steve, because he had to know. And so
He
Steve
didn't
was
know
like,
what was going on.
no. And so he was like, he's like, okay, well, he's like, I own the building. I can lock them out if this is what's really happening. So I remember sitting with Steve and his lawyer, and we're going over like everything that like what we could do. And I'm like, all right,
Oh my God.
everything is like the okay to lock them out. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to try and get in this building. And so we started locking, we changed the locks. We started collecting all of our stuff. And we were like, we're going to get it out and then we're going to bring it back in. So we would get out, they'd come back, they'd be pissed or whatever. And then they'd be like, screw this place. And then we would take all of our stuff and put it back in so they couldn't try and take anything.
Get back in.
Yeah. And so
Julian, and you're like 22, 23?
yeah.
Oh my
And so
God.
one day I get a call and my buddy's like, hey, they tried to come over without telling anybody, and their key didn't work. And I was like, yeah, that we changed the locks. They weren't supposed to, they don't come like that. Like, they don't just show up like that. And he's like, well, now they know that they're locked out. And I was like, oh. And he's like, so we need to get everything out of the studio, and like all of our offices need to like be exited like out now.
And
I'm
it's
like,
really nice equipment, right?
and there was like desks and everything. I'm like, what do we do? So I start taking out all my hard drives. I take out all my, really my hard drives are the most important. Everything else was bought by them.
Music.
So we get our hard drives and we're spending like hours there. And I have photos. We're like unplugging everything and
Are
like
you sweating and like dying of anxiety?
no, I was just like, this is crazy. And then as we're leaving, they show up. And it's like, I think it's like 8:00 at night. And we're leaving.
It's dark.
And they come up and they're like, so what's up? And they start like trying to fight us in the parking lot. Like physically fight us. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I get in my car. We
You're not
drive
that
off.
guy either.
Huh?
You're like nobody. You're like this isn't.
I'm not gonna fight anybody. This is stupid.
Your dad's a cop.
Yeah,
Like
it was dumb. So I literally get in the car, drive off. Steve, the building owner, he has cameras, so he calls the cops. We go around the corner. We're watching the cops pull up. They break it up, whatever. And so we're like, you know, you guys are locked out. You know, we're out. We're not going to come back, whatever. Well, the next day we show up and the door had been like just like cracked open. They just like cracked it. And I mean, the building was massive. It was so nice. It was so modern. It had big, thick glass doors. They broke the glass door, got in that night after we had left, and took everything out.
so they took all your equipment.
All the equipment was gone. So microphones, cameras, and
I know how much that stuff costs now.
What's crazy is
it's expensive.
They took stuff that wasn't even theirs. They took computers that had stuff on it that are just gone. So like
criminals.
we have very little footage from that time.
Did you get your music? Did they get
yeah, because I only had like 3 hard drives that I could like take.
That's good.
And I remember I specifically took hard drives and did not use anyone else's because of literally this situation. I'm like, well, what if someone steals my like music or something? So that happened, and then I met with my buddies, and I'm like, all right, so what are we doing? We going back in? We're gonna remake the whole thing? And they're like, no. They're like, we don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, guys, we can't just like give up because those guys, like, we were on a roll. Like, we were the only studio that was doing that. And the guys were like, no, like we can't keep going. And I'm like, all right, well, then I'm gonna do it. And so
so if somebody, I'm so fucking proud of you. I can say that because I was your teacher. Because you know when people say that, it's like condescending. You're like, you're not my mom. Shut up. Like my dad and mom can say that, like, stop being fucking weird. But okay. This is why you're a badass. I only recently developed the skill to not let that big rug pulling event be like, oh, well, this is why I suck, because I suck at it. And this is just a confirmation because I suck and I'm not good enough. You were like, no, fuck this. Right. So did you remember, did you have, when they were saying no, obviously they were enjoying what they're doing. They let this adversity basically be like, fuck it. We're not doing
like,
it.
fuck
it's
it.
too
like,
hard. It's too scary.
Mm-hmm.
Too hard. So you were like, no.
Yeah, I was like, no, I was like, how could you guys give up? I'm like, we could call it anything else. Like, what? I don't care. And those guys, they were like, we're done. And so they leave, and I'm sitting there with the building owner and the lawyer, and he's like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I'll figure it out. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I was just like, I'm just going to say yeah. And so during that time, though, I had already, in between that time, had been working with so many people that one of the people that came in, what I would do was so my studio door was like kind of close. There was a hallway, and then my studio door, and then the front door was in that hallway. So basically, anybody who walked in had to go by my studio.
Could hear your brilliance.
And so no, seriously, you know what I would do? I'd hear the door open, and I would press play, and I would turn it up. And like, because I was there all day not doing anything. So I would just sit there with my feet up in the studio, wait for the door to open, press play. Someone would walk in and go, what is that?
Shut
and I'd
up.
be like, oh, I just produced this right now. And they'd be like, what? And they'd sit down and talk to me. So like, I would do that over and I got so many clients from that.
You gotta believe in you before other people do, right?
Yes.
You're like, this is what I got, boo-boo.
Yep.
If it resonates, come on in.
So one day this guy came in, and so this was before everything bad happened, but this one guy came in, and I got introduced to him, and he listened to my music, and he didn't say anything. It was the first time someone just listened to my music and was like, and then walked away. I was like, what the fuck?
You're like, I hope you have a shitty cup of coffee.
I was like, do you know what I just graced your ears with?
You're like, whatever. Didn't need you in here anyway.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't need you anyways. But this was a lesson. So I was like, whatever. And
You're like, he's an asshole anyway.
literally, and I would tell people, I'd be like, when they'd ask me about the situation, I'd be like, I was like, fuck that guy. I was like, I don't know who he
Some
is, don't
douche
care.
walked in here.
I was like, whatever. Come to find out that he's the dad of one of like the biggest hip hop and pop producers at that time.
Okay.
So like I'm talking Cardi B, G-Eazy, like big names. And my buddy was all, he's like, hey, he's like, so and so wants to meet with you again. And I'm like, he didn't even listen to my music last time. What does it matter? And he's like, you might want to meet with him. And so comes in with his wife, and they're all play us music. And I'm in my chair playing the music. The wife is listening. She's kind of like on her phone. The dad's listening, but he has two AirPods in, or not AirPods. He had wired headphones on. So he's listening to music or whatever while I'm playing. I'm like, what am I doing? And so I'm playing the music, and then they leave. And I'm like, what is
like,
happening?
another wasted hour of my life.
Yeah, no, I was getting so frustrated. So
you should have said, you need to talk to Miss Cooley. She's going to put you in your place.
I know.
My 7th grade teacher is going to tell you.
So my buddy ends up telling me, he's like, hey, this is so-and-so. And I'm like, oh shit, that's kind of crazy. And he's like, they want to meet with you again. Huh?
Okay. No, give me the deets. You got to name drop.
I can't name drop these people. I'll tell you why later.
Okay.
So
damn it.
They end up coming back and listening to my music again, but this time they're like, okay, we want to like work with you, like send us these songs. I'm like, okay, so I send them the songs. I go home, I get in the shower, I get a phone call. It's my buddy who introduced us, and he's like, yo, I need you to come over to so-and-so's house. And I'm like, okay, so I get out of the shower, I go there. We're in his living room, and he's all, play me some more music. And I'm like, I don't even have any more. I played you everything I have.
You're like, listen, bruh, I'm
yeah,
done.
I was getting so mad. And I play it for him, and he goes, well, he's like, my son's on his way. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, I was like, okay, that's a little different. And we're in his house, and he's like, yeah, he's on his way. His mom wants to go get him. They'll be here in a little bit. He goes, he wants to talk to you. And I'm like, okay. So his son shows up, this big producer, walks in. He doesn't even know I'm there, right? So like his dad was telling me that he's excited to meet me. The guy gets there and is like, who is this random person in my house? And he's like totally not in celebrity mode at this point. He's like at home with mom and dad.
So this is a celeb.
Yes. And I'm like, and so he's, grabs a Gatorade.
Like, oh, wait, you knew who was coming.
I knew who he was.
Okay.
Yeah. They didn't tell him I was there.
That's annoying. I hate that. That's fucking annoying.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Because you're like, so now you make me look like an ass.
Exactly.
What the fuck are you doing?
So then he goes, play him your music. And I'm like, okay. So I play the music again. And he looks at me and he goes, who is that? And I go, that's my two best friends. And he goes, who produced it? I said, me. He goes, call them right now and tell them to come over. And I'm like, I can't, like, they have jobs. Like, this is like not a thing. So I end up calling my two best friends, this guy and this girl, and I go, hey, I'm like, this is going to sound really weird, but you guys need to come over here.
And this is in Arizona, right?
This is in Arizona, yeah.
Okay, uh-huh.
And so they like fly down, they fucking driving super fast, and they come in the house, and the guy's like, did you guys write all this? And we're all, yeah, we did it basically in my room because some of this stuff was old. And he goes, okay, well, he goes, I want to work with you guys. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? He's like, I'll have more details in a little bit, but you guys are good. Like, we're going to work on some stuff. A week later, he calls me again, and he's like, let's all meet at this really famous studio. So we go to this really big studio. We're hanging out. I have all of this on video because I called my friends. I'm like, my video guy, my photo guy, like, just come down here because I don't know what's going to happen. And I just think it's a good idea. And so he comes down, we all get together, and we're in this big studio, and the celebrity guy's like, you guys need to quit all of your jobs. And I'm like, I don't have a job. I make music.
You're like, done.
Yeah, done. And so my two best friends work at like, one of them works at like a, like a clothing store, and the other one works for a security company.
Yeah.
And my best friend's like, I can't just quit my job. Like, I got bills to pay and whatnot. And he's like, you'll be fine. Just quit your job. And I'm like, what's happening? And he goes, I want to sign you guys. And so you guys need to be in the studio every day.
So celebrities sign producers to work exclusively with them.
No, that's exactly the red flag that I should have paid attention to. The adversity comes again. But
Well, I mean, you're freaking 23. I'm sorry. How are you supposed to know all this shit? I don't even know this stuff.
right.
Like, you know what I mean? It seems so. But did you have anything going off in your head about like, or you
No.
were just? It's okay, and you can't tell me the celeb. It's okay if you can't. You can't tell me the celeb, right?
I'll tell you why. But like
Okay.
on, but like when this is happening, I remember I almost like threw up. Like I had to
Excitement
like
or nervousness?
out of just like freaking out. Like
Excitement or bad?
yeah, I've never even had that before. And
Okay.
so I like it's on camera. I like walk out of the room and my buddy's filming me and he's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "I'm going to fucking throw up, dude." I'm like, "What is happening?" And
Because
he's
it's
like,
so
he's
your
like,
dream
"Go back
coming
in there,
true.
dude." He's like, "This is crazy." And so I go back in there and he's like, "You guys got to call your jobs, quit your jobs." My two best friends quit their job. For the next month, we're in the studio every day. And so, mind you, this is happening when everything's going good over at that other studio. So nothing bad has happened yet.
Okay.
So flash forward to when the bad shit had happened and that studio started closing.
Oh right, this is when everything was going good, and
Yeah.
then you get like robbed and shit.
Yep.
And then
So after that, I'm like, I don't have a studio for work, but also I'm like, it doesn't matter because they told me I didn't need to work. And so I was still going to the studio every day making music at that really big studio, and everything was fine.
okay,
Then I get a call, and it's from the dad, and he goes,
the dad of the
"Hey,"
celeb.
yep. He goes, "This is a random night while I'm having dinner with a client." He goes, "Hey, I need you to get on a plane." I'm like, "What are you talking about?
You're
It's
like, I
5
need you to
o'clock."
provide more information.
Yeah, I was like, "It's 5 o'clock in the evening, and I'm having dinner with a client. What are we doing?" And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna get on a plane right now, and you're gonna work with the Chainsmokers." And I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, that was me." Yeah. So I'm like, "Okay." So get on a plane. I get back.
And what year
I
is this? This is like 12,
this is 20.
2012, 14, 13.
No, this is like we're far past that. This is like 2017. So yeah, so I end up getting on a plane,
My
uh,
God, Julian.
getting off the plane, and then some driver picks me up, drives me all the way up this mountain in like the hills,
LA,
and yeah, and it was like,
the Hollywood Hills, darling.
yeah, pretty much, yeah, and it was like, mind you, I got the call at 5, my flight was at like 8, and then I get there at like 9 or some shit. So I get to the studio. I'm working with the Chainsmokers. I'm freaking the fuck out. I don't even know what to do. It's like 10 o'clock at night. At this point, it gets to like midnight, and I'm like, how long am I going to be here?
You're like, I have to go wake myself up and
Yeah.
then throw up as
Yep.
well.
So that ended up going until like 4 o'clock in the morning, and halfway through that, the son was like, he's like, you need to play something on this. And I'm like, I can't even think of anything to play because the song sounds done. Like I was like,
And by the way, we can edit this out if I'm asking you too much detail, but
no, yeah.
is it you're working with the Chainsmoke, like the son is the singer?
The two guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were they treating
So
you nicely?
yeah, they were cool.
Okay.
They had just came out with Closer with Halsey. So like their biggest song. Yeah. So I'm working till like, 4 o'clock in the morning. And the guy's like, you got to play something. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, the song is fine. And he's like, you need to play something. And I'm like, why? And he's like,
Oh, they
you'll get
wanted you
credit
on it.
for it. Yeah. He's like, well, it's not that they wanted me on it. Anybody who plays anything on a song
Oh, you
when it
get
comes
credit.
out, you get credit for it.
Oh,
So
okay.
they were just trying to build my credit of songs
That's
that I've wrote.
nice.
Well, so
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I end up, playing some shit on it, whatever. Song comes out. Song comes out like 3 years later, some crazy shit. But
Can you tell me the song or no?
yeah, it's called Kills You Slowly.
Okay.
And so that night, okay, so I leave at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I go to bed at like 5, wake up, get on a plane, fly home. My dad and my mom pick me up, and I'm just like, what is happening? Like
Were you happy or like it was a surreal?
I don't, I couldn't even process it. The only reason
Yeah.
why I wasn't happy was because I didn't learn anything. Like
Didn't learn
when I
anything.
was in
Okay.
the studio with them, I was thinking, I'm going to learn how to
Oh,
make
this is gonna be a
like a
beautiful
learn yeah, I'm
experience.
gonna be learning something. I learned absolutely nothing. I learned that they were using the same stuff I was using. They weren't doing anything special. They just had money. Like that's pretty much it. Like they had funding and a backing from a label, and that's because some songs I've done, a lot of people have been like, "Oh, that could be on the radio," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it it's not about how good the song is. It's about the money that gets put behind it, and usually it's a label."
Really?
Yeah,
It's really not. Damn it,
no,
I thought it was about how good it is.
no, and it's only good to a lot of people because as you don't have any other choice to listen to it.
It's what can get above the noise and, like, get
Yeah.
heard.
So, like, once you hear a song, you're like, "Oh, that's a really good song." It's like, well, you might have never heard that song ever. It
Got
wouldn't have
it.
mattered though. You know what
You
I mean?
pay for the exposure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do that whole thing. I go home, and then like 2 weeks later, it's like Valentine's Day, and I'm with my girlfriend, and who's my girlfriend now, and so
We like her, right? We're
we do
happy
we love her.
because I have to punch the other one, but
Yeah, you can punch the other one.
I mean,
She,
when metaphorically.
yeah,
Yeah.
she. I feel so bad because it was Valentine's Day, but I'm driving to go pick her up, and I get a phone call, and it's the guy, the dad, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to get on a plane."
Why is
And
the
I'm like,
dad is he the business manager? Why is he
he's
calling?
like, yeah, he's like the manager.
Okay, because 'cause I'm like, "Why is dad calling?" It's like
Yeah.
Kris Jenner dad
Yes.
version.
Yeah. So he, you know, he's like, "I need you to get on a plane," and I'm like,
You're like, "I know, bro."
she's going to be so mad
But,
because it was like we had a plan and all this kind of stuff, and then I'm on the way to get her, and I go, now I have to turn around. So
I'm sure she knew this was big for you though, right? Or,
yeah,
I mean,
we were
it's
young though. We were like 23.
you're right, and we get a little moody.
So I end up going backwards, going back home, and my best friend, I go, you need to drive me to the airport, and he's like, why? I said, because so and so said I got to get on the plane and go back to LA, and he's like, why? I'm like, I don't know. He's gonna tell me when I get there. So I get to the airport. They give me all my information. I go, where am I going? What's happening?
Why
They're like,
don't they
oh,
just give it to you on a what is that like a music thing where you're like, "You'll find out when you get there." Like,
they just don't have all the
oh, they
things.
don't know.
They don't
Okay.
know anything yet. So
Okay.
then they finally call me, and I'm like, what am I doing? They're like, oh, you're gonna be on Netflix. So I'm like, okay, 2 weeks ago I worked with Chainsmokers. This week I'm on Netflix. So I end up flying to LA that night. I get there at like, oh no, we didn't fly. I get there to my best friend to take me to fly.
Okay.
There's no flights. So the dad is like, hey, there's no flights. You got to drive here. And I'm like, it's midnight. So if we drive there, we're going to get there at 7 o'clock or like 6 or something.
It'll be nice and fresh for you.
So me and my best friend Dan get in the car, drive to LA at like
He's
midnight.
he's a good friend.
Oh yeah, best friend. And we go, we get there, we check in, I sleep for 30 minutes, and then I wake up and have to go
And it's like
be on.
it feels like 1 minute where you're like,
It was
"No."
one of the no, seriously, it was one of those things where I closed my eyes,
And then
boom,
you
woke up. Yep.
and then you're like so tired.
Yep. So then I went down to this studio, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I don't even know how does this work? And they're like, oh, you're just going to be an engineer for all these people, but the cameras are going to be rolling and there's a whole story going on. So you're a part of it. And I'm like, okay. So then I'm filming, I'm basically an engineer for this show called Rhythm and Flow. So it was basically like American Idol for rappers.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So
Oh, got it. You're getting the beats so they can
yep.
compete.
Yep. So
Amazing. That's
I'm
cool.
recording them and like making them sound good and whatnot. But like I'm on camera, and then they pull me aside for interviews
Because
and
you're
all
good
this shit.
looking and you're good. Yeah, I mean, you're middle
Exactly.
school. You're you're good looking, articulate. You had
I
really
knew
good
it.
middle school teachers that prepped you for
Exactly.
this, so it makes sense.
But
No, but I
here's
can
the
see
problem.
why you're charismatic,
The
but
guy that
genuine.
the guy that was the like above me, the guy who was like the main person for this show.
Uh-huh.
There was like multiple producers, and then there's me who's an engineer at the time. I wasn't producing anything for this. I'm just engineering. We're not that important, so we're kind of like in the background, so it didn't really matter really. But the problem was my guy wasn't a producer. He just made beats, so he doesn't know how to like put songs together. He would just make music and like send it out,
Oh, because it's different. Engineer the beat, produce the beat, sing. It's a whole
produce,
different
all that
thing.
kind of stuff. There's all
Mhm.
these different things. So he just made the beats, knew nothing else. So as we're working, they're like, "Hey, so and so, you got to tell them what to do so we can get on camera." And that guy was like, "I don't do that. That's not my job. I don't know what to do." And he's like, "Jack, can you do it for me?" I'm like, "I'm not supposed to be your person. What the hell?" So they start filming me doing his job. And I'm like, "How is this going to work?" Because he's never on camera because he doesn't know what to do. So I do this whole thing. I'm there for 2 weekends. So I'm there for a weekend, go home, I get flown back out for another weekend, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So um, it comes out like maybe a year and a half later, 2 years, and we're watching it, and all my parts, I'm there. Like you can see me, like everything's fine. But all the parts where he's supposed to be talking, they overdubbed with me talking. So like they would
You
like
mean it's
show
not all
him.
real?
No. So they would like show like him behind the glass, and he'd be like talking, but then it'd be
And it
me
was
saying stuff.
you.
Yeah. It was so funny.
Okay, so your rhythm and flow, you did that. And then so did you continue doing like take me through like
So
the rest?
then
Yeah.
so then they want me to work with. So I work with Chainsmokers. They wanted me to work with some rappers. They wanted my best friend to work with Bruno Mars's band. They wanted my other best friend to work with the son, and
Mhm.
Halsey commented on like her Instagram. Like they planned this whole thing. It was a whole plan.
Yeah. I
But
love
then
Halsey.
adversity again
There's no adversity in life. Nope.
just shows up. So I get a call one day, and my buddy was like, "Hey, this other rapper." So my buddy that I was telling you about, the rapper from forever ago,
Mhm.
our other buddy had passed away. He got shot. So I was like, "Damn, that sucks. I'm gonna go home. Like whatever." Um,
It's horrible.
I come back, and the dad was like, he's like, "Hey," he's like, "I want to talk," and so I go talk to him, and he's like, "So I know
Chainsmokers
that."
dad?
Yeah, no, the celebrity guy.
The celebrity dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, "Hey, so I know you didn't go after with." So the
You
Chainsmokers
didn't
had
tell me the
invited.
celebrity guy's name, but
Huh?
you were this is the guy that had introduced you to the Chainsmokers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the celebrity guy's dad, the one you were asking like why he's always like talking to us and whatnot, the
Yeah.
manager guy. So he had pulled me aside, and he was like, um, the Chainsmokers had invited you out to go to Vegas with them, and you didn't go. And I was like, "No, I didn't." And he's like, "Why not?" And I was like, "Well, because my friend got shot and I had to go back home." Right. And he was like, "Well, I know your friend didn't get shot." And I'm like, "Yes, he did." Like, I was like, "Yeah, it was super weird." I'm like, "Yeah, he did." And he was like, "Well, I don't think he did." And I'm like, it was just super weird. Yeah. This was like my first taste of like scary music industry shit.
Okay.
So I was like, "Well, he did." And he's like, "Okay." And he's like, "Just make sure you don't lie to me about stuff." I'm like, "Okay, I'm not." I'm like, "He got shot." So, um, so after that, I was like, that was kind of weird. And then I randomly get hit with a contract. So up until this point, I had no contracts to anybody.
You would just
Nothing.
work with like
We
you
just
charge
would
by
do,
the
we would just
hour
do
type.
whatever. No, I would just do whatever they told me to do. I would just
Okay.
go where they told me. They were basically
Oh,
funding
the
our
Chainsmokers,
lives.
the Chainsmokers, or
No, the celebrity guy.
celebrity guy, and and then you would go, yeah, okay.
He would just send us places.
You would produce for various people.
Yep.
Got it.
And so the celebrity guy's dad was managing us, but what they were doing. So when you look back on it, it's like, oh, you're going to work with Chainsmokers, you're going to do Netflix, all that kind of stuff was just buttering us up for when you get a contract. And you're like, well, they did all this shit for me, like they've done all these things. Why would they not do whatever? So I get the contract and I'm looking at it and I remember how I told you I was in school for like 1 year basically
You were in
in
college for
in
1 year.
college,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So that I remember I had to take a business class.
Hmm.
And
To
so
learn the business of music, right?
so I took a music business class and I learned some shit. The one thing I will never forget my teacher saying over and over again, and then we had guests come in and say it. They'd always be like, never give up your publishing. Never give up your publishing. They would say this over and over again. And I'd be like, I don't care. Like what I would never like dive too much into the business stuff. I would do all the homework. I would learn it, whatever. So that day when I got the contract, I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's so funny. You want to own like 30% of my publishing. And I'm like, no. I was like,
Red flag.
yeah, I was like, my teachers had told me flat out that was like the number one thing not to do. So I start reading more of the contract and it's like publishing, royalties, and then it was like net worth. And I'm like, okay. So I start looking at it and I'm like, this looks like you own all of everything, basically. Even though it's like small percentages here and there, it
It
basically
adds up
adds
to a
up
lot.
to a lot. Yeah. And then I keep looking and then I'm like, oh, and it says in perpetuity. So basically you own my everything forever? Like you're gonna own like all of my money? I'm like, what happens if I do a photo shoot and I make money from that? Do you get part of that too? Because that doesn't make any sense. So
You were doing modeling too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just like looking at all of it and I'm like, you're basically trying to take everything. Well, mind you, my two best friends got the same contract. So
It's so fucking
I'm like,
gross.
you're like triple dipping
You're
basically.
fucking gross.
Yeah. So I got on a call with him and I'm like, hey man, I'm like, he's like, oh, are you gonna sign? Blah blah blah. I'm like, no. I was like, can we just make a few adjustments? And he was like, oh, what? You don't think I deserve any of this? And I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I don't think that
Is
you
he a
should be.
narcissist?
I don't know. I didn't know him well enough.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm like, no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm like, you deserve a lot because you've got me so much shit. I'm like, but this is not standard, and I know that. And so he was like, well, and this was crazy. He goes, well, then I'm just going to tell my son that you're racist. And I'm like, huh? Like, I remember I was on the phone. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to tell him you're racist. And I'm like, that is very strange. I'm like, makes absolutely no sense. And he's like, well, if you're not going to sign it and you don't think that I can do any of that, then I'll just make sure that you aren't part of this anymore. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I'm not racist, so go ahead. Like, I was like, I don't know what to tell you. And so he's like, okay, hangs up the phone. And he's like yelling at me. And I just like hang up on him. And I call my best friend. I'm like, hey, you need to call so-and-so and let him know like what his dad's saying, because this is just weird. Gets him on the phone. I'm on three-way. He tells him what his dad says. And the celebrity guy's like, he's like laughing. He's like, Jack's not racist. He's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm like, exactly. I'm like, so I don't know why he's going to tell, like, it makes no sense. And then literally the next day, radio silence from like everybody. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like no response to anybody, nothing. I get a call like 3 days after that from the mom, and the mom of the celebrity guy.
Who was in
And
that initial meeting on her phone, just chilling.
yep.
Yeah.
And the
That.
mom gets on and I'm like, hey, and she's like, hey, what's going on? I go, Nothing. I don't know what's going on at all. I'm like, I have a contract for, management and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, well, I didn't know that you got that. And I'm like, oh, so this person did this without you knowing too? I'm like, you don't think that's weird? And she was like, well, we're separated right now. I'm like, oh, so that's why you haven't been around. And I'm
Okay.
like, oh, so basically he's trying to lock us into a deal because he knows this whole thing's falling apart on their end. And he wants to save it by locking us into some shit. So I started like putting all these things together. And the mom's like, well, let me put you in contact with this music executive. And she puts me in contact with one of the biggest music executives ever. And he's like, hey, I have your deal on the table. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, apparently, per this contract, I have to have a manager before I sign your contract. And he's like, that's not the case. He's like, you need to get a lawyer. I'm like, what is happening? So I try finding a lawyer, can't find a lawyer. I call my buddy who was one of the 3 owners of that place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, dude, I'm like, do you want to manage us? I'm like, because you're the only person I trust. I've known you for a long time. And there's obviously a deal on the table, but we can't get to it because like all this stuff is going on. That guy decides to tell the celebrity guy's dad what I said. And so now nobody's working with me.
Oh
I'm
my
like, homeboy, I was
gosh.
trying to help you. You would have got 20% of basically all my stuff. So I was like, this is insane. So I literally just said, if they want to call me, they can call me. If they don't want to call me, then fuck it. So hung up the phone, never heard from them again. It was just like cut and dry, gone. And I'm like, most people, would
You
be
were just
upset.
you were just a fucking, like, not human to them. Like, they
Oh
don't,
yeah.
you're just a means to add
Well,
their piece of shit.
so what I found out was, in order for so there's a major label, like take like Sony or Universal, for
I
instance.
like hate the music industry from
Oh,
everything.
me too. So you take Universal or Sony. Under them is a bunch of sub labels.
Okay.
So
Oh,
like,
okay. I didn't
so
know that.
basically it's like, say there's like Milk, and then there's like Target Milk, Shamrock, like kind of like that.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
So the major company has all these small, brands underneath or labels underneath them. Well, when you have a label that gets picked up by a major like that, they give you like, $30 million or some crazy shit for all your artists.
And then you go help make them more money.
Yep. And so in order for their company, the family that I had just been with this whole time, they had their own label. In order for them to get their $30 million check or whatever it was, they needed 3 artists. So it didn't matter who the artist was. They just needed 3 artists so they could sign it, and then boom, they get $30 million, and then whatever. And then they are supposed to disperse the money to us to then make records
Yes.
and do our job. But they can allot what goes to us. So we might not get $1 million. We might get $500,000. We might get, we don't know. So I'm like, so basically, you didn't care about the music. You didn't care about us at all. You just needed to persuade us enough to sign the contract so that way you could then get your deal through this major label. So yeah, it was, and afterwards, like I watched like what they were doing, like from like a normal person standpoint. I would like watch their interviews and all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's so funny. They have new artists. I'm like, they're just like looking for the next person so they could get this big deal.
It's not about really developing an artist that they think is really going to make music to help people. That's going to be, fuck. You're just like a mule. Like,
Yeah,
you're
like go
just
make music,
cattle.
and the thing is like they'll look for people that love making music.
To be preyed upon.
Yeah, but the problem was, I said something instead of just doing it.
So you're dropped because
Yep,
they're like, oh,
because
he
you're aware.
wised up, on to the
Yep,
next.
yep, because you're aware of
Bye. It's
what
like
can happen.
you didn't exist. Done.
Yep,
Next. New, fresh meat, wide eyed, right?
yep, and it works every time because they're putting it, and that's the thing. It's like, yeah, they put me, but here's the thing. I looked at it like this. Everyone was like, oh my God, you're not upset, you're not sad. I go, bro, they put me in front of the craziest people. And I can tell people I worked with Chainsmokers, I was on Netflix, and guess what? My prices just went up.
Yeah, and also I didn't fall for their fucking bullshit.
And that too,
booth.
like I'm like, at the end of the day, they could have, if they wanted to, hey, here's $2.5 million. Go make a record. You use that money to make the record. However you want, go to whatever studio, do whatever you want.
You pay for studio time, right?
Yep.
Is that the big expense?
Well, the big expense is everything else, like
And the art,
buying a house in LA. Like,
oh, right, because it's a project that involves a lot of got it. Yeah.
oh, by the way, I have to drive around in a G-Wagon because I need people to know I'm famous. Like, they give you the money
The
and then
whole
you do.
image.
Yep. And
Oh
so
my gosh.
the problem is most artists will get that money and then they'll fuck off and then they'll owe the money back and then you never hear from that artist. But what they also can do is, hey, here's $2.5 million. Go make a record, right? Give us the record and then we'll tell you when it's put out, right? Because that's how it works. You give it to them, they have a release date, and everything comes out. There's a thing called shelving where they will literally, you give them the record and you use their money and then they'll be like, oh, we'll put it out one day. And then they put it away and then you owe them money.
So Julian, thank you so much for sharing your, as a creative, sort of the things to look out for, the as a business person, anyone in their 20s or anyone in general, like, everyone's like, oh, you're young and dumb. Well, no, it sounds like you paid attention to your intuition and you follow those, right?
Yeah.
Follow that.
Yep.
So we're coming with part 2. I just decided, and
Yep.
you, because I'm your teacher, you have to.
I have to do it. Yeah.
You're like, yes, Miss Cooley.
Yes,
It's
Miss
fine.
Cooley.
And part 2 will be coming with some more adversity stories from you.
Yep.
I think, well, everybody that follows this podcast knows that it was born out of recovering from narcissistic abuse.
Yep.
And I am sorry to say that you have experienced that.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm happy to say
that I'm out of it.
On the next episode, you will be sharing your story, and we're just gonna keep living life and sharing our wisdom, right?
Yep.
All right, my friend. Well, thanks for listening to me babble, and until part 2.
Until part 2.